My god, this is somehow more broken than when I started the video. Hello, I'm Elgato and welcome back to Seed Sunday. This is the weekly series where I show you seeds for Minecraft which are particularly interesting and worth checking out in some way. And this week's seed is definitely one worth checking out because you know I love broken seeds, but this seed is so broken that it has an abandoned mineshaft which breaks the fundamental rule of the game and doesn't just go on for a few hundred blocks or a few thousand blocks, but it goes on for millions of blocks all the way to the edge of the world, so functionally infinite. And it's not just one seed which has this crazy infinite mineshaft, it's two separate seeds and in fact several more, because while doing the research and while looking for other seeds like this, it turns out that all Minecraft Bedrock seeds are broken in this exact same way, which means you can use the knowledge from this on any seed. Minecraft mineshafts are broken, and this seed just kind of reveals how, so let's dive into exactly how that is, by first of all just showing that this is a truly infinite mineshaft. I mean, so far, it looks pretty big, right? Like, this is a lot bigger than you usually see in a mineshaft, but let me show you, 10 minutes of walking condensed to 10 seconds right now on screen, and you'll see how even 1,000 blocks later, we're still in the same mineshaft. We walked all the way through that, and even if we go to 20,000 blocks or 200,000 blocks, we are still inside the same abandoned mineshaft, which is still linked all the way from one place to another, which is insane. Again, mineshafts are meant to cover maybe 100 blocks, but this one covers millions and millions of blocks. So the way that that is possible is it's not actually the same mineshaft. Rather, what that is it's an infinitely generating series of mineshafts, all generating in the same relative position, which means if you walk diagonally, you'll keep walking from one to another, to another, to another. But let me show you the seed first of all and show you how you can get into this, because you're going to want to get your hands on this. So hello, I'm IBX welcome back to Seed Sunday. The seed's going to be on screen right now. If you type that in, then you'll spawn just over here. As long as you type it in on any Minecraft Bedrock platform, that's where it just says Minecraft when you pause the game. And also, if you obviously type it in the current Minecraft update, this might eventually be fixed because it is a huge, strange thing. But yeah, let's talk about the fact that this seed above the ground actually looks, really, really normal. In fact, perhaps below average, I would even say, because look at this spawn right here. It's a plains biome next to a mountain. It's a fairly common spawn, but the mountain's not really too useful. Like, I mean, like, there's some ice up here, and there's, it's big mountains, but it's cut off by a lot of rivers. And then the plains biome isn't a very good plains biome because it's not flat, so it's not easy to build on. So there's not really anything going on with this seed. And even if we head in the correct direction, there's a lava pit, which is great, helps for speed running, which, you might want to do if you're getting all this free loot anyway. There's a lava pit over there, and there's a village over here. But that's kind of it as far as the above ground structures go, because you're going to head in this direction anyway, because as soon as you get to the stage where you're minus 300 or a little bit over and then positive 300, so when your coordinates look like this, i.e. your negative x matches your positive y, then you'll start to find mineshafts. Anywhere in this diagonal line, you're going to find mineshafts. To prove that, we'll just go an arbitrary amount and then we'll dig right down and we're going to find ourselves into a mineshaft. And that is because this seed has mineshafts generating at that same, again, their negative x coordinates are the same as their positive y. Oh, look, here we are in a mineshaft. Who would have figured? And yeah, you can see how in here, immediately, by the way, we get a chest, but you can see how this mineshaft, it's not just a little bit. Oh, this goes across a ravine starting here, but you can see how now we're inside the ravine, like I showed off earlier with that 10 minutes and 10 seconds thing. You can see how, like, oh yeah, it's the same mineshaft part we were in earlier, except it's slightly different. It's the exact same room with the exact same, like, lead mineshafts, but it's different coordinates. Are you sure this is the same seed? So yeah, it's the exact same seed with the exact same mineshaft and the exact same weird, like, patterns, because it's the same, effective mineshaft generating over and over again in different positions. Oh, look, here we are again with the same, oh yeah, here's some mineshafts with another mineshaft route to the right of it with, more chests, because the chests are different places, but you can see how, like, oh, and if we turn to the left here, it'll be the same thing, and just endlessly so on and so forth. You'll see how, oh, look at this, it's the same room again with, oh yeah, it's a mineshaft with some more things to the right, because they're infinite. And in case you don't believe that, like, okay, you've shown us in lots of coordinates it's exactly the same, but that's still not proving that it's infinite. That shows there's a lot of it. So let's show you using a tool that this truly is an infinite Minecraft seed. So this is ChunkBase.com. It's a really handy way to search for different structures in your Minecraft seed. It only works in certain versions and certain updates. It has compatibility problems, but it's a really handy way to analyze seeds because, again, they obviously can do that. And yeah, here you can see, looking at our seed on ChunkBase, you can see how, like, oh yeah, there's a mineshaft at minus 300, plus 300, more or less, roughly. And then you can see there's another one at minus 343, minus 330, and so on and so forth. If we just keep on scrolling, you'll see how these endlessly go on and on and on and on. Sometimes they even run past past other mineshafts, but you can see how like, huh, that's kind of strange. Look at that over there. We'll come back to that later. But for now, you just need to see that on the exact same X to Y coordinates at -8,000 plus 8,000, there's a mineshaft. So you can do this at any coordinate you want to. You could prove this endlessly, but you see this the point that if we just keep on going at the exact same relative X and Y coordinates, you're finding the exact same mineshaft in a diagonal line, a perfect diagonal no less. You can see how these mineshafts are infinitely generating. It's crazy, it's wild, and it reminded me there is a seed like this in Minecraft Java Edition, and by playing around with the data values on that, you can actually find more infinite mineshaft seeds. I think there are actually millions of different seeds with infinite mineshafts in Minecraft Java, but again, it's kind of like a different issue there, and it made me realize like maybe we can find something similar over here. So all I did was I turned the 79 value at the end of the seed into 78, and you'll see how it's the exact same thing, but they're more spread apart. So it's two separate lines of infinite mineshafts, and then if we go to 77, you can see how, oh, now it's like separate diagonal lines of infinite mineshafts that, again, just to prove that it truly is endless, you can see how over and over and again, perfectly spaced in the code, every, like 4 to the left and 4 to the down, there's another mineshaft going in these weird lines that makes weird patterns, and you can see how every seed has a slightly different, at least in the same range, has a slightly different variation on that same thing. Like, okay, we go back to 2 and it's this, we go down to 1 and it's this. Every single time you change the seed number by 1, it changes the generation algorithm a little bit, but still generates infinite mineshafts on the same relative X and Y coordinates, which I thought was absolutely wild. Like, okay, we can do this forever, can we? But it did make me realize that, okay, what if instead of going down, we went up? And that's when I found this. It is a seed which has infinite mineshafts perfectly next to each other. So if we check this one out really quickly. So this is that second seed with the perfectly balanced lines. As you can see, again, at the surface, it's actually quite a nice seed, arguably nicer because of the fact that it's got a mega tiger, a fairly rare biome otherwise. How nice. It's also a big mega tiger because these things generate for so long in Minecraft Bedrock. But if we go, again, to the exact same stage where we find that our relative X and minus Y coordinates get to the exact same stage, like we're going to, so here we are at roughly the same negative X and positive Y coordinates, and now if we dig down, we should find ourselves in an abandoned mineshaft. Except because this one is like, again, it's not two separate mineshafts, slightly apart. This is the same one generating every single chunk in a diagonal line. We should find it slightly easier to navigate, and that does seem to be true. Like, you can literally see that this exact same dirt patch room, which usually represents the origin of Mineshaft, is generating not just like every so often, it's generating every chunk, almost touching itself. So you can see how like, oh yeah, this one is much easier to navigate. It's much easier to see that this is a truly infinite Mineshaft because of the fact that, again, it just keeps on going and it keeps on going. And if we go back, we'll see the same. But yeah, this one is absolutely wild to see because instead of just like realizing that it's infinite after a few crawls, you can basically see it any time you're heading in the same direction and you see an exact repeat every few seconds, and even some emerald here apparently. But you can see how like, oh yeah, this is exactly the same with the exact same origin room, and it gets pretty wild until this point right here where the mineshaft actually stops. And this made me realize like, huh, it turns out it's not always perfectly the same. The mineshaft does in fact come to a near end, but then it seems to just keep on generating, and I kind of wondered why this was, and I found a very interesting answer. So let's go to the surface, because once you get here, you'll realize there's a mesa biome here, and this is something I didn't even conceive of when I realized that Minecraft had this problem with infinite mineshafts, because then you can realize that, oh, in these mesa biomes, you're gonna find, obviously, you know, like above ground mineshafts, using that same, you know, algorithm to work out where their mineshaft should be, and it means you get above ground mineshafts generating infinitely, one after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. You find this dirt trying to generate. Obviously, it's generating on mountains, so the terrain's really messy, but you can see infinite mineshafts in a row in the mesa at that same, again, relative negative X to positive Y, you know, function. And this is insane to look at. And it's not just insane to look at, it's insane in terms of the fact that we're getting so much loot. We've sold so many of those chests as we went along, right? Like, here's a free name tag and some free rails. Here's a free golden apple. Here's a mineshaft glitched in a fence somehow, but it contains a diamond regardless and a golden apple. But yeah, because obviously every mineshaft generates with a few of those chests, if you have a mineshaft every chunk and you can see 20 or 30 mineshafts from where you are, there are dozens and in fact hundreds of chests in this same biome, but you can see at any point in time dozens to even, you know, just under hundreds of chests at one point in time. It's endless the amount of free loot you can get. It's absurd, and in this case, you don't even have to go below ground because it's all on the surface. So yeah, this is somehow even more broken than I thought it was. It's crazy to look at, But yeah, it goes further than beyond this, right? Like, this is an amazing Minecraft seed. This is something you need to check out if you want to ever get infinite free loot. Like, you know, if you want to play survival but get some certain things for free, or you want to, like, you know, goof around and have something insane to look at, this seed has it not only once, but again, this exact same seed, I've only mentioned so far that it's minus X and positive Z. Just in case you're curious what that means, by the way, obviously, looking at the coordinates, the first number is X, the second one is Y, the third one is Z. It's the opposite of how most things do work. But if we now reverse that and we go to positive X and negative Z, you'll see how, again, fairly normal on the surface. Again, this is a nicer seed on the surface because it has more stuff and better biomes and whatnot. But then if we start to dig down below the ground at any point where those two numbers roughly match, with one being positive and one being negative, then we'll find ourselves, apparently, in a gravel cave. Then we'll find ourselves in an abandoned mineshaft, and not just any abandoned mineshaft. You better believe this one also has the exact same infinite generation in an exact line with infinite chests and infinite of these dirt patches, some of which have roses on apparently, because obviously we're below a flower forest and the way that generation works is slightly strange. But you can see, same thing, infinite generation going in a straight line, looking like this. So at this point, I was amazed with what I'd found. Like, my god, this is an absolutely crazy couple of seeds. I need to share them with the world. But then I started to wonder, like, okay, we could just do a seed Sunday and it'd be one of the best seed Sundays in terms of, like, a really great seed that I want to share. But then I started to wonder, like, so what is the underlying cause behind these infinite mineshafts? Like, why is it that this number causes it and not anything else? Like, what can we play around with to start to see the calculation? You know, I wanted to work out if we could maybe understand something about the underlying calculation, about what makes these mineshafts infinite, and if maybe that was a Minecraft issue, or if it's an intentional thing that we've just somehow cracked just now, because Minecraft Bedrock has a lot fewer seeds than Minecraft Java, so I decided to play around with random seeds. Because ChunkBase does have a handy feature where you can leave the box blank and it'll just give you a random seed, and this means that we can check a whole bunch of seeds really quickly, and we can see that, like, oh, this seed, so there's no mineshafts anywhere near spawn, but if we zoom out a little bit and we start to look around, then we'll eventually be able to find some mineshafts, right? Except, there are no mineshafts anywhere near spawn on this one. We're zoomed out as far as we can, but there are just no mineshafts anywhere on the seed. Like, do you see this? We're zooming around. We're finding nothing, but, like, okay, maybe it's just a seed with unlucky mineshafts. So we'll type in another blank random seed. Okay, there's nothing. There's nothing. Oh, wait. This one's not nothing. This one has the exact same thing. It's an infinite series of generating mineshafts. Again, roughly at that XY number. It just starts a lot further out. This one starts at negative 2,000, negative 4,000. So again, it's a different relative X, relative Y, but you can see how the same thing happens on this random seed. It's not just that this seed is the only one with infinite mineshafts, it's the only one with infinite mineshafts that connect together, because another blank random seed, you can see how, oh, it's 2 mineshafts followed by 2 mineshafts, another 1,000 blocks away, 2 mineshafts, and this happened endlessly. Like, even though it only happened every 4th or 5th seed, it seems as though every single Minecraft seed is broken in just a slightly different way. Mineshafts in Minecraft Bedrock are predictable. You can work out where they're going to be based on mineshafts you already have, and to prove that, let's find one which looks like it doesn't have any mineshafts, like all of these did, but, like, there's no mineshafts around here anywhere, right? It just means we have to find them. And here we go, we just found it right now. Here, again, it's a different direction, it's a different set of coordinates, but you can see how there's a generating line just over there, and if we follow it longer, and these infinite lines are going to generate across the Minecraft world. It's just the gaps between the infinite lines that changes. So this seed really sucks for mineshafts. It has a bunch together, but then besides that, they're really far away. It's strange as to why or how this happens, why there are tens of thousands of blocks of no mineshafts, but it seems to be every Minecraft seed has infinite mineshafts. You just need to find them, and you just need to know exactly where they are. Again, in this case, where are they at? We don't know. So yeah, different Minecraft seeds have either functionally 0 or functionally infinite mineshafts. It's just we've never realized till now that there's some pattern between them. Like negative 7,500, 989. It's hard to work out from that oh, if we look at, oh, this is even weirder. Like, you know, it's weird. It's hard to work out these lines because when you're playing Minecraft, it doesn't show up. This one has weird infinite signs. Literally, again, this is literally the game code showing an infinite sign along a big line of things. Why is this the case? I don't know for sure, but it's crazy, crazy, crazy strange. So yeah, today what I set out to do is try and find out why these two different seeds both had infinite mineshafts, and what I found out instead was that every single Minecraft seed has infinite mineshafts if you know the position of one of your Minecraft mineshafts in your world. If you extrapolate from that and you go in any diagonal direction, again, perfect diagonals, you should eventually, it might be tens of thousands of blocks, find another one. And once you found two mineshafts in your world, using the relative positions between the two, you can almost always use that to find another one. If we know where this mineshaft is, and we know where this mineshaft is, so we can use that exact same map and assume that at negative 100,600x and 99,000, I guess 800, here there is at negative 100,600x and 99,800z, another mineshaft. Do you spot that right there? That's kind of crazy, right? Or it's like close enough to there. You'd find it if you dug down because mineshafts cover more than a few chunks. This is just the origin chunk of the mineshafts. But you can see how like, wow, that's kind of crazy, right? We can work out based on the relative position between any two mineshafts in a world where the next ones are. So we could just take this and be like, okay, there's the fun fact. I'd love to maybe dive into that and how you can do on any, even existing Minecraft world with existing mineshafts, how you can do the same thing. Again, we'll see if that gets fixed, if it's a bug or intentional, or if we've just cracked the code. But for now, I wanted to find what is the best seed we can find by just using this and trying to find the best pattern. Because you can see how right here, this is a really fun pattern. Look at these mineshafts right here. What if we can use this to find some part of a Minecraft world where, because every single Minecraft world has multiple patterns that sometimes converge, what if we can use this to somehow find the biggest mega mineshaft? So after a fair amount of searching, what I found was this seed right here. It's the same seed from before, but with 79 or 80 replaced with 05. You can see how like, oh yeah, wow, look at this. It's the same infinite mineshaft line that will go infinitely across your world, but with a second couple of lines next to those with two mineshafts next to it. So it's even more insane cluster nonsense. Plus, every, few thousand blocks, you're going to see how the, again, the line going the other way diagonally across, intersects with that and creates this madness right here. And again, it goes all the way across your Minecraft world, all the way to the very end. But then if we try it with 6 instead, you can see how like, oh, it's the same thing, but there's a gap every 3 here, but in exchange it gets slightly wider. That's kind of crazy. We do it with 7 and it goes kind of back to the same thing. But look at this right here. Every other chunk for quite a while there has the same thing, but then at 2.8, it's like, oh, it's even crazier with now the infinite mineshafts are going through the other line of infinite mineshafts. That's like crossing over infinite mineshafts. And you can see how like, oh yeah, as every time we add or remove from the seed, we get a slightly different generation, and it's wild to look at. It looks like the game of life if you've ever played around with that, but it's here in Minecraft, and I love this. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen because none of it makes sense. None of it seems to be easy to reverse with, and that is something I think I'm definitely going to play around with, and I encourage you to do the same if you have a seed. Like, again, this one came in from a subscriber. That's how this kind of process came about. Then do, dive into this. If you find an amazing seed, I'd love to find it and show it off. I'm going to be spending a lot of time playing around with this for now, but for now, let's check. I'm going to be spending a lot of time playing around with this in the nearest future, but for now, let's jump back into the Minecraft, shall we? And let's load up this, this seed right here that has this just every other block as a mineshaft to see how, 15 separate, or in fact, how many is that? That's like 22 separate mineshafts in roughly the same place looks like when it generates. So here I am at roughly the same X and Z coordinates, and funnily enough, we're in a giant ocean at this point, so we should find a stage where the mineshaft crosses with the ocean. Like, it looks like we found just here, like, the tiniest bit of mineshaft that gets cut off because abandoned mineshafts can't generate over underwater ravines for bizarre reasons. But right here, again, at least according to the map, is where we should find about 20 to 30 separate mineshafts, all in the same rough space. So here we are, roughly the same, negative X and positive Z, or again, we could do the reverse coordinates. But yeah, if we dig down from here, then what you're going to expect is not just one mineshaft, but about 20 to 30 mineshafts, all in the same rough radius of each other. I'm really curious as to how this looks. Is it just a giant mess, or is it quite civilized? Let's find out. And let's also see if it definitely is, infinite. Because finding 2 infinite mineshafts, that doesn't prove anything, but seeing 3 infinite mineshafts, that will be the thing that changes your mind, right? But yeah, looking over here, you can see how like, oh yeah, as it turns out, it is not only an infinite mineshaft with that same infinitely generating diagonal line, but it's multiple infinitely generating diagonal lines. And then here, because it also crosses in the other direction, things get even stranger there. There's so many mineshaft pieces that the walls generate into other walls, and it functionally just looks like a giant cave that has a lot of wood placed in here. Like, you could get this exact same effect by digging out a giant underground cave and then, just placing wooden mineshaft stuff in there. Which, maybe that's a fun project idea, but I also think the amount of effort that goes into, the theoretical Minecraft lore of how this is all made is really interesting to me, because it means that, like, it turns out those miners that went digging below the ground, thousands of years ago before we're playing Minecraft, turns out some of them like mega projects, like me. If you don't know my channel, we do a lot of insane just making something big for the sake of it. So in the same way, looks like the people who play Minecraft, the dwarves, the whoever you want to call them, the people who were here first, turns out they had a similar goal. But yeah, to end this thought somewhere, because I really do want to spend an infinite amount of time checking out all of these different mineshafts and weird quirks, and like why is this here, for instance? Like there's so many things I would love to check out in this seed, and in these seeds, this plural thing, but because it literally covers every Minecraft seed, I think at this point the right thing to do is to spend a lot of time, both personally and, again, if anyone wants to check out the same, again, ChunkBase is a website, I'll link down below, and if not, you can just Google ChunkBase and check out the Mineshaft calculator. Make sure you're using the Minecraft Bedrock tool, but if you do that, you can check out and find that pretty much any seed will have some infinite mineshafts everywhere, which is crazy, which is wild, which has so many lore implications and so many implications on how we play the game, and I think it's going to change a lot of attitudes and behaviors towards mineshafts. We'll have to see if it is intentional behavior, if it's broken. Again, I'll update you as these things come about, but for now, thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to see more of these, you can see an infinite number of more Toy Cat videos by hitting the subscribe button and turning on the bell so you get notifications every single time I upload, which is an infinite number of times per the life of the universe. I think that's incorrect, actually. I guess over a time period of infinity, I upload infinite times if I lived infinitely. None of those things are true, But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has taught you or showed you something, because all I know for sure is that I want to spend a lot more time playing around with Mineshaft. It's just free diamonds here. Yeah, maybe you know that too. Or maybe you just have an existential crisis about what even is Minecraft? What even is a mineshaft? Let me know in the comments down below, because for now, I hope you all enjoyed this video, because I'm going to see you all in the next week's Seed Sunday, which won't be breaking all of Minecraft, hopefully, or discovering a breaking all of Minecraft. We'll just find another fun, great seed. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Goodbye.